Welcome back to the Momentum Sports Podcast. Today we're going to talk about the Texas and Georgia game that happened over the weekend. And we're going to start off here. Let's talk about Georgia and we'll get into Texas next, but let's start off with Georgia. Are they the team to beat now? Are they the new favorite? I know Oregon is number 1, and we did do a video about Oregon being number 1. Definitely should check that out. But is Georgia really the team that everybody fears? Yes, Oregon may be number 1, but is Georgia, if we were to do a power rankings, are they the real number 1? What do you think, Derek?
If I was in the power rankings, I would have them number 1 and Texas number 2. But that's just me being biased.
Yeah, I know.
But no, Georgia is actually, they're really good. Their defense is a lot better than I thought. Um, they got talent. That defensive end for Georgia, man, he really laid through through Texas tackle. I mean, I think he forced a fumble, forced like 2 or 3 fumbles.
Yep.
I mean, this is, probably 2 fumbles. And it's all within a blindside hit, not seeing it coming, uh, putting up the arm as they were going to pass. I mean, it's great. He's getting drafted really high in this draft. That's going to be good.
Mhm. Yeah, Georgia looked really good. Um if you've been following us and if you've been following me on my other channel, um that Heartbreak Hogs podcast, if you want to see some Razorback content. Um,
Nobody cares about that one.
easy now, Derek. Hey, we both lost this weekend, so it's all good. But
Hmm.
yeah, I I started drinking a little bit of the Texas Kool-Aid, and I wasn't quite sure if Georgia still had it, and I think a lot of people felt this way. Is college football has just been very weird this year. There have been teams that you think are juggernauts and then they lose a game or two. Alabama, they looked like they were on top of the world. Then they've lost 2 since then. Georgia, again, like you expected them to be a lot better, and they barely beat Kentucky. They look okay against Mississippi State and some of these other teams where they're just kind of scraping by. And you're like, why is Georgia just scraping by? And they come into Austin, you think that it's going to be this insane environment that Texas is just going to come out. They've been so consistent. They're going to continue being consistent, and the consistent team is going to win. Well, that's
Hmm.
not what happened. And I've also been warning Texas fans not to count their chickens. They have not played anybody. There are 2 teams in the top 5 right now that have 0 victories over a current top 25 team. And Texas is one of those teams. The other one is Ohio State. Texas does not, they have not had to play a real team. And Georgia is more than a real team. All right. Georgia is a juggernaut. So um, it's not to say that Texas can't beat another top 10 team. It's not to say they can't beat a top 15 team. But it does make you question, how good is Texas? And that's what's going to be interesting. They go to Vanderbilt after this, and we'll just have to see. But getting back to Georgia real quick, I think they're the team to beat. I think that they got everybody's attention back, and it'll be interesting, Derek. Does Georgia lay flat in another game? Do they lose another game randomly like Alabama did?
Well, I think when they played Alabama, they knew this new play out for 'em, and they relaxed.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh shit, Alabama's way ahead. We're screwed. We need to step up." Then
Yeah.
they woke up and they had to step up, but they lost. Then they were like, "Well, we can't make that same mistake."
Yeah.
So they went hard against Texas, and I guarantee you, if they went hard against Alabama like that, Alabama would have never gotten that big of a score.
Yeah.
Um,
It was
Yeah,
weird. It really was.
it but the thing is, even Texas was sleeping in that first half,
Yep.
and
And that's
it
what was
took
also
Ewers to get
weird. It was weird to
it
see
took
that.
Ewers to get taken out
Yep.
and put Arch in, and pretty much that was a statement saying, "Hey, look, you don't do well, we're gonna bench you." And he's probably thinking, "This is my job. I gotta get drafted." No, it's not happening. So when they put him in the second half, all
Yep.
of a sudden the spark came up, and Texas started coming and scoring like 15 points in the third quarter. At that point, I was thinking, "Oh shit, we might be coming back."
Yeah.
But
I know you did.
Georgia
You were
did pull away.
That's what you were texting
I
in the
mean,
text in the group chats.
for a minute there, I was like, did they just wake up?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I think if these two teams play again, I think they'll be playing full strength all the way
Yeah.
because Texas, yeah. But anyways,
Yeah. No, I see what you mean. I think Texas just, for whatever reason, they just didn't come out with the same energy. I don't know what this game would have looked like if they had. I mean, even when Texas did come out with a lot of energy in the second half, Georgia still dominated them. I know Georgia or Texas did score. They had 2 scores. Georgia had 1. But really, let's be honest, Georgia still contained them. And if Georgia needed to score more, they probably could have. But their goal,
Georgia's
go on. Yeah,
Georgia's defense won this game.
right. They
It
did.
was not their offense.
That's what I mean,
They had
though,
a
is that
lot.
the defense
Yeah,
controlled the game. It was one-sided control, but it was control of Georgia just controlled this game. Like you said, there were some moments that it was like Texas might actually come back in this, but it was short-lived. The defense in Georgia just came back. And this is something I'm going to mention is we did talk in our Oregon discussion. I brought up the fact that to win a championship, you're going to need a strong defense. You may not have to have the best defense out there, but you need to have a really strong defense. And that is how Georgia, if they win a national championship, it's going to be because they have that defense, and that's what makes them a legit championship contender. But man, Carson Beck is a liability.
at least back
He
then he was.
is, and I have brought that up multiple times. He was a liability against Alabama. He cannot close a game. If it's up to him to close the game, and let's say that Georgia is down in the fourth quarter and their defense is doing everything that they can to get the offense the ball again to win the game, you're in trouble, Georgia. You are in trouble if Carson Beck has to win that football game. So we'll have to see if it ever comes down to that, and most likely it will. But Carson Beck is a big liability in these big games. But we'll just have to see. Maybe the Georgia defense is so good that Carson Beck doesn't have that kind of pressure. Maybe they're forcing
Mhm.
turnovers and points like they did against Texas. So we'll just have to see. Carson Beck did not have a very good game.
Yeah,
So,
now if I would have told you you didn't watch this game,
yep.
I would have said Georgia won the game with Beck doing almost 50% completion and he had 3 interceptions. What would you have thought?
Um, that would be like, what the heck did Texas do to shoot themselves in the foot and lose? That must
Yeah,
have been a really
yeah,
close game at the end and Texas lost, right? Except it
yeah.
wasn't,
You think
you know? Please subscribe to the channel. It really does help push our content out there. If you think that our takes are interesting, that we have bad takes that you want to make fun of, comment down below and subscribe as well. And comment on all of our videos and correct us. So, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. And that Momentum Sports Podcast is out.